Hey guys, Charlie here. It's time for another Chat with Charlie, coming to you today from my house, in my living room. So today what I want to do is go through some improv games that you guys can play, especially if you're in the improv class. These are games that you can review, and these were games that we are going to be doing in our showcase, so it's a good thing to review. But if you're just home alone with your siblings and your family and your pets, these are games that you can do anytime to have a good time and show people how much fun we have on Saturday mornings. Okay, so let's review. First game is called the hot seat. You remember how to play the hot seat, right? This takes 3 people. So if it's just you, get your mom and dad involved or whatever. So you got a person in the center, you see, and then you have 2 people on either side. Well, those people on the other side, they're going to think up a topic of conversation. Okay, it could be anything. It could be something that happened to you over the course of a week, or it can be some fictional story that you make up off the top of your head. Once upon a time, there was a purple frog who lived in the swamp, and he was very blue. He was being made fun of, that kind of thing. So you could take a few seconds to think about that story, and then get somebody to say action. And when you start, you're both going to tell the person in the center your story at the same time. And after a couple of minutes, you'll stop and see if this person can tell us what they were both talking about, okay? Even when you play these games, though, I want you to remember about the 3 words that we've been exploring in the improv class: objection, obstacle, tactic. So when you're when you're one of these people, you have an objective, right? It's pretty clear to make sure this person hears your story. But you have an obstacle. Very simple, it's the other person telling the story at the same time. So your tactic needs to be as loud and clear as you possibly can. So if you can't find anybody else to play with, just put your dog or cat in the middle. Now, they're not going to be able to tell you what you were talking about, but it's fun to see their expression while you're talking to them at the same time. Okay? So that's the hot seat. By the way, if you want to write these down, you might want to get out a pen, a piece of paper, so you can play them whenever you want. You might not be able to play them right this minute, but if you write them down, you can play them later. Okay, there's the hot seat. All right, next, storytelling's a fun game to do. You can do it with 2 people or 3 people, and get your mom and dad to help, because you're going to all sit in a row like this, right? Like I've illustrated. This person on this end is going to start telling a story, just like we were doing in the hot seat. Okay, you're going to make something up, describe a story that you make up off the top of your head. At some point, your mom or dad are going to clap their hands. And when that happens, the person in the middle picks up the story from where this person left off. And then the middle person is going to continue with the story. Then somebody's going to clap their hands, and it goes to the third person. And we're going to clap our hands again. It's going to come back here. And then clap our hands again, goes back into the middle. And when we clap our hands again, the person on the end does what? Finds a way to end the story. That's right. So we're starting to think about beginning, middle, and end, okay? We're telling a story, and we're listening. This is a listening game. You really have to pay attention. Listening's key in our game, as you know. So you really have to pay attention to what the other person is saying. And you can come up with these crazy stories, and maybe if you can get somebody to dictate it as you're saying it and read it back, it's hilarious if you do it that way. So don't forget, storytelling is a really fun game you can play anytime, anywhere, with just a couple of people. Okay, next game. The dating game. Remember the dating game? This is a fun game. Everybody loves to play it, all ages. You have 3 contestants. You could do it with 2 contestants. Bachelors, bachelorettes, whatever. And you have a person over here that's going to ask these people a series of 3 questions. Bachelor number 1, what would be your item that you would take with you on a deserted island? Okay. Now, the key is this person here, this contestant, you're going to send to their room. Close the door so that they can't hear what's going on. And then these 3 are going to pick out a defining characteristic. It could be super shy, a germaphobe, a goth, a hippie, however you want to do it. But each one of these three people has a different defining characteristic. And you have to answer the questions portraying that defining characteristic. Then at the end of 3 questions, this person has to be able to guess what your defining characteristic is. Okay? So you got to stay in character. Whatever you decide you're going to be, you got to commit to it 100%, because the object of the game, this person should be able to guess quite easily what your 3 different defining characteristics were. Okay? So like I said, it doesn't have to be 4 people. You can play it with really 2 people or 3 people as well. It's called the dating game. That's a fun game too. Oh, press conference, you can involve your whole family with this, okay? And you know how to play this. You're gonna go out of the room, okay? And you're gonna close the door, go to your bedroom, go do something else for a few minutes. And then all these other people, all these other members of your family, they are secretly gonna decide on something that you either discovered or invented, okay? You don't know what it is, but they're gonna decide. And then you're gonna come out of your room, stand up in front of everybody, and start the press conference, okay? One of the people in the press is gonna say, ladies and gentlemen, here comes so-and-so who just discovered something very useful, or discovered something very mythological or something. Let's say they decided you discovered unicorns actually exist. Okay, so they're gonna start asking you a series of questions. And they're gonna have to identify where they're from. Oh, hey, I'm Charlie from Equine Magazine. What made you think to go out and search for this? Okay, so you might say, well, I just thought it was the right thing to do. Okay, you still don't know what it is, so you call on another person. Oh, hey, I'm Scout, and I'm from Fables Magazine. Was it hard to track down this elusive creature? Okay, so your questions begin to get more and more specific as they go along, until finally you can say, hey, wait a second, did I discover unicorns? Yay, and then the game's over, okay? So as many people as you want, you can even play this on a Zoom conference too if you wanted. That'd be a fun game to play with your friends that just is a back and forth. So if you want to get on Zoom, or however you say it, and then get them together, you could play press conference. It's a really fun game. Okay, don't forget about first line, last line. This is something you should be practicing at home if you have the time and if you have a couple of siblings that'll do it with you. Get your mom and dad, okay, what they're gonna do is they're gonna give you the first line of a scene, okay, that you're gonna create. The first line of a scene, it could be anything. Wow, that was unexpected, whatever the line is. And then they're also going to give you the last line of the scene. See, there's a solution for everything. That could be the last line of the scene. You have to come up with the entire scene based on the first line and last line, and you've got to start the scene with those lines, okay? So when you go off, and this is a game where you can have 10 minutes or so to prepare it, while your mom can go do something else, and then come back in 10 minutes and you've got this whole scene ready to show her based on the first line and the last line. But don't forget, there's certain things you have to establish when you're doing scenes like this. Remember, you have to establish your environment, where you are. You have to establish your relationship, who you are in relation to the other people. And there has to be a conflict being really the DNA of drama. You have to have something that creates a conflict that you're able to resolve by the end of the scene, okay? Make sure that you're not trying to get to the last line too quickly. Just start with the first line and see where it goes. You sort of loosely rehearse it once and call your mom back into the living room and do it for her, okay? First line, last line, gonna love it. Okay, finally today, movie titles. This is, over the years, become by far the most popular improv game that we play on Saturday mornings. So how can I play it at home with my family? Well, it's pretty easy. You got to get a sibling or somebody to help you out, but get your mom or dad to make up some movie titles. Not an existing movie title, a movie title they make up off the top of their head, okay? The Mystery of Warehouse 23. I just made that up, okay? I'm gonna write it down on a piece of paper. I'm gonna write down 3 or 4 of them, okay? And then I'm gonna put them in a hat, and then you're gonna pull one out, okay? Then you're gonna go to your room, and you are going to create an entire scene based on that title, okay? Based on the title, all right? And you're going to continue to do that, work on that in the same way. You know, you have an environment, you have a relationship, and you have a story based on that title. Now here's the key, don't say the title during the course of your scene, because if you have anybody else that's watching, they can try to guess what the title is based on the way you do the scene. Movie titles, okay? All of these games that I showed you today, these are games that we would be doing in an improv showcase. Those are the ones that we would demonstrate for your family and friends. So this would be a good way for you to practice at home. And if you're already out of the improv class, you're in studio apprentice or Tuesday, Thursday, this is a fun thing to do if you're sitting around the house, okay? So thanks for watching Chats with Charlie. This was the improv class. Next time you see me, we will be providing some content for the studio apprentice class. Until then, have a great time. See you soon.